Bonjour, Wurlitzer today to show you a comparison of the Softube TLA 100A and the hardware, the Summit Audio TLA 100A. So it's just to give you an idea because the calibration and all that stuff will be different. But to be honest, first the plugin reacted exactly the same way as the hardware I got at the studio in terms of gain reduction and in terms of input gain staging. So first it was really easy to match the gain reduction and all that stuff. Good beginning. Now let's go straight to it and let me show you first on the kick drum, the unaffected kick drum, and then we go back and forth between hardware and plugin. Okay, so slow attack, fast release, just to give it a bit more snaps. That's what I like about the TLA 100A. It's one of my favorite compressors at the studio. So let's see if Softube can give me the same thing in the box. Let's compare. Close your eyes and let's go. So to me, the plugin seems to have more low end, or the hardware seems to be a bit brighter, and so giving the impression you got less low end at the end, but also the hardware got a lot more noise, and it's something I will show you on the other bass DI track. But to be honest, it's really close. I mean, almost indistinguishable to be honest. But let's go to DI bass, maybe it will be different. So let's go first without, and after go back and forth. Super cool sound. Let's go back and forth now. Well, it sounds the same to me, except maybe the hardware, as I said, got a bit more high-end and so a bit more low-end. It's hard to tell which is which, but it can be maybe because the tubes are different from the unit they modeled, or a bit old maybe. It's so close, really, to be honest. The only difference is maybe in the low mids and the lows, where the plugin seems to have a bit more of those, where the hardware seems to cut off a little bit the lows and a little bit the low mids, but also the hardware got a lot more noise, and I will show you that right now. Listen to this. And now the plugin. Hardware. No noise on the plugin at all, and quite a lot of noise on the hardware, to be honest. But let's see on the bass amp now, it may be different. Let's see, with and without and back and forth as usually. Pretty down close, isn't it? On the bass amp, maybe I hear a tiny bit of more transients, a bit more saturation maybe on the hardware, but it's really subtle, a really subtle thing that I hear, but maybe I'm crazy, is I hear a little bit more phase rotation coming from the hardware. Is what transformers tend to do to the sounds of phase, a little bit of phase rotation, but it's really close. And to be honest, maybe we can fake that with transformer plugin, maybe like this one, Let's try to see, maybe it will be the same. Well, it's maybe a little bit closer, but it's not exactly it. But to be honest, it's like 0.5% of difference here. I'm really being picky. Let's go on the vocal to see if it's different.
The complaints never reaches a here. The complaints never reaches a here.
Slowly what it's doing to the vocal. Now let's listen back and forth.
The complaints never reaches a here. 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 The complaints never reaches a here.
Maybe I'm crazy, but on the vocal I hear a bit more difference, but it's really tiny, to be honest. Again, the hardware seems to have a bit more high end, as I said before, so maybe it's enhancing a bit more the vocal frequency range and give it what everyone can call a little more forwardness to it, and something I can prefer in a mix. But in terms of difference, although the hardware seems to clean up a bit the low mid and the like 400-ish area, listen to the first sentence especially. Let's focus on that.
The complaints never rid. 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 The complaints never rid.
It's maybe more 800. Listen to the nasal frequencies around 800 something. Let me see if I can find it.
The complaints never rid. The complaints never rid.
Yeah, something around here. Listen to that frequency and the difference between the software and the hardware.
The complaints never rid. 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 The complaints never rid.
It's almost as if the hardware has a bit more EQing induced in it, almost like it got some, like, you know, the little surgical cut EQing induced, but it's really, really, really subtle, and something you have to A/B and go back and forth a lot of time to hear it. I'm not sure that in a mix it's making a whole lot of difference, even for us nerdy engineer. But yeah, it's a little bit different. Let's go to Wurlitzer now and this comparison. Lovely, so let's go back and forth. Again, the software is truer to the source. The hardware gets rid a bit of the muddiness in the low mids and put a bit more emphasis on the high end, giving that impression than the plugin. But again, it's very close. So my opinion about it is that it's pretty darn close, almost indistinguishable, to be honest. I'm pretty sure that just swapping the tubes in the units will make a bigger difference than just comparing plugin and hardware here, to be honest. It's so close, what can I say? It's really well done, it's wonderful. And in the plugin you can play a bit with low cuts to match the difference in the hardware, having a bit less low end. I've tried to do that, and maybe a low cut between like 10 or 20 hertz sometimes make make it closer to the hardware. I don't like playing with the saturation, to be honest. I don't really like it in the plugin. Maybe it's good like this. I will leave it like this. Maybe a bit more saturation sometimes, but like just a tiny bit, nothing more. But apart from that, yeah, it's maybe one of the closest sounding algorithmic plugin I've tried when I compared plugin and hardware. And yeah, hope it helps you to have an idea on how it sounds, and let's see you on another comparison or another video, and au revoir.